Show you also my
Yeah. This is a really wide angle lens, man. Like fisheye.
What do you mean?
I mean, like it gets everything.
Oh, like it covers it.
It'll get this whole room
Oh.
to the point where it bends the picture a little.
So everything fits in.
Yep. The thing is the glare, though. I hate the glare. Well, he said keep it handy, so I think this
I
is...
thought you said keep it inside the bag.
Oh, it's a good thing he stopped us, because the next mode was going to be Jamaican. I was going to say, come Jamaican, man.
Oh, I don't know if I got that flavor. My voice is too proper for all that. I'd be the most proper speaker Jamaican. So, hey, after that, you don't got no feedback where you can look at pictures live.
Nah.
Because I was hoping, like, since I couldn't really get a chance to read all this, if I could just go back and look at your stuff.
Yeah.
And look and pull some questions.
Hey!
Don't worry, we're going to take you in about, say, 15 to 20 minutes to Robben Island. You are in good care. Good results. On the bottom, nature calls. There is bathrooms, port and starboard side. You are
You have a whistling, you don't have to shout. Only if in a restricted visibilities, maybe there's four, you use a whistling, and towards you activate itself. It's an automatic car. That's all you need to know, guys. Welcome aboard.
He's doing a documentary and so forth. Sorry, Captain. He's doing a documentary and so forth.
On this small camera, I don't believe
Yes.
I don't believe that.
The smaller the better. Can't you tell from me, man? We used to work with CNN. My friend, she worked with CNN International. She's the producer.
Okay.
And we're from America, US.
Yeah.
And we're here for the
I've never seen American men being so short and small.
Yeah.
And petite build like you.
I'm bad though, I'm a badass.
You are what they call the
I was in the Marines, man.
dynamite comes in small packages.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But we're here for the 65th anniversary of Desmond Tutu. He's been married 65 years.
Yes.
He must have got married when he was like 12 years old or something. That's one hell of a woman he's got too, if he's been married to her 65
All
years.
those years, eh?
Yeah.
And the struggle he had to go through, and she stood by his side.
Yeah. Yeah. But I appreciate your kindness and your generosity, sir, for letting me
Not a problem.
spend this time in your personal space and whatnot. But I'm not gonna tarry long.
No problem. You enjoy it.
All right. I love your country, man. It's the most beautiful I've seen.
Yes, it is.
I've
I've been all over as well, but this is home.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a beautiful. When you see Table Mountain, you come from this big ships. You come from that side, you see Table Mountain. Oh, that feeling you get coming from deep sea,
Excellent.
from Europe or America or Far East. You come back home, you see Table Mountain. You know,
That's it. You relax, you sit back.
sit back and relax. I'm home.
Home is home.
Sweet.
You reckon it's the most beautiful country that you've ever been to?
It is.
Besides your own one, of course. You can't say
Well,
anything
no.
about that.
More beautiful than America, my friend.
Is it? Depends
Yes.
where in America you are also.
No, I've been in different places in America. I grew up in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
This is by far most beautiful.
Thank you for the compliment.
That is such a shot.
correctional services, police, they used to live there, so they used them as gardeners. They used them to, you know, pack the rocks on the salt pan on the outside. There's a lime quarry over here. So they sort of did all the maintenance on that.
So it was real work for them to do.
It was real work.
Let's go, 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 go. Yes.
How did you
kwenzekani bani nimbonayo ngasingamaziyo thina celebleya sibukele thina I'm from Langa Township, where Brenda Fassie was born and raised. So I'm kind of like She does look like Brenda Fassie. Brenda Fassie was the African Madonna, if you don't know. She was the Madonna in our era. Every summer she had a bubblegum hit. Which song do you know?
Mina ngizomemeza ma
Those guys are so jealous of the other guys. Wow, you guys are taking me down memory lane, eh?
Sorry for you.
Brenda, where are you from? Brenda, where are you from? I know Brenda, the most mama wapi tizi mo.
I represent Kansas City, Missouri.
You are from Kansas My sister, welcome home. Welcome back to Africa. There's no other words I can say it better. Welcome
Yes,
home.
yes,
Amanda! Wow, that is the most awesome. You guys have just made my day. We are all brothers and sisters. We are connected. This is the African connection. It's visible, it's live and direct.
Are you crying?
No, I'm not crying. Warriors don't cry. So where is the school from? From Plettenberg Bay. Oh, that's a beautiful part of South
Beautiful. Have you been to Plettenberg Bay? No. You should go. Beautiful. Okay. More than Cape Town. Really? It may be small, but beautiful. Stunning.
Where everything's clean is then
And you, where are you from?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
They are
Atlanta,
starting
Georgia.
about
Some are
Mississippi,
from Missouri.
Atlanta,
Kansas City.
From Kansas
Birmingham.
City.
They are studying about the
From
Birmingham
Virginia.
March,
Oh,
the Washington
I'm
March,
actually from
the
Alabama.
bus boycott. The bus boycott. They are studying about it.
Okay, Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks. They know Rosa Parks. Yeah, they did study about Rosa Parks, the bus boycott, the sit-ins.
The sit-ins.
Yes, they know about them.
All right.
Yeah. That is part
You're from
They
Colombia.
know Martin Luther King Jr.
Of course.
His famous speech, I have a dream. They know that.
Wow.
And they love that part of history.
Guys, welcome to Robben Island. Folks, do you know that I said I'm from Langa Township? Have you guys been to Langa Township? Zolis is in Koguletu, but my friends from America, you have not been there? You're from Nigeria, sister. The Brenda Fassie must go to Langa. If you guys have time, I will take you to Langa Township personally and you'll get to see where Brenda Fassie's home is. Yes, Brenda sang about Nelson Mandela. She sang Black President at the time Mandela was still in prison. While Mandela was still in prison, she said, I will sing for my president. She was banned by the apartheid government. Yes, they even banned that album.
But we love it anyway.
Yes. Yes, 1988, when she sang that song in Langa Stadium, there was a stampede. It was so packed, Brenda was in tears. You know that it's quite rare these days where you see artists singing and you can see tears coming out of and they are singing from their heart. It's quite rare these days. She was one of those phenomenal artists, you know. But guys, welcome to Robben Island. My name is Tabo, and I'm here with my colleague Hussein. So we together are going to be taking you guys on a historic tour around the island. It's in 2 parts. Later on, you guys are going to join a former political prisoner. They are the ones that talk of their own experience and will be taking you through different sections of the prison. So since Robben Island opened in 1997, it's only former political prisoners that tell and show you what the entire prison looks like. So we are going to cover the history in regards to the Dutch footprints as well as the British, because it dates from the 1600s when the Dutch arrived in this part of the world, when Robben Island started being used as a political prison. So there's a lot of activities that happen in between that, but we will share all of it as we journey. And we are also going to visit some of the sites where hard labor was practiced. There's also leper graves, buildings from the Second World War, and the historical village where the guards and their families lived here. But we'll talk all about that as we journey on. So guys, if you would like to see penguins, the road on the far right where you see that wooden path there, it will take you to the penguin boardwalk. On the right side, this building, this is a visitor center. This is where the families, as well as lawyers, and those who are given authority were able to see political prisoners here. This island opened in 1960 under apartheid as a political prison. And this is the maximum security in front, where later on you'll be joined by one of the former inmates. But on the arrival in 1960, we have what they call the old zinc jail, where the first group of prisoners were accommodated. But under the apartheid regime, political prisoners were then forced to build this as part of their hard labor. Between 1962 up until mid-1964. It was the worst time ever to have been on this island. And because of the racial policies, it is only black men that were brought to Robben Island. So we were classified as Africans. There were also Indians and Coloreds. Coloreds are those that are of mixed race. But only those men were on Robben Island throughout the apartheid period. Now going back during the British colonial era, what you see on the right side here, these are graves of people that died of leprosy. Leprosy in Xhosa is known as Iqembe. So in the 1800s, during the British occupation, if you either had leprosy or any other skin disease, it meant that you would have been brought here. But the idea was to avoid leprosy from spreading in communities. Yeah, they have that fear. Even if you go back biblical times, it has lived on throughout generations. It was the same kind of scenario. So this is all documented as early as 1840 up till about 1931 that we had Robben Island mainly operating in this manner. So further, when we get to the historic village, we still have the old churches, hospital wards, and some of the compounds where lepers as well as medical staff were accommodated. But now these are structures used by those working and living here. But as we continue further, we will talk more about that. The result of this protest was in a township known as Sharpeville, outside Johannesburg. That's where the policemen shot and killed 69 innocent civilians. And they left hundreds injured and thousands also arrested. You know, just to draw a picture to everyone, you know, Sebukwe's approach at the age of 36, you know, he and members of the PAC rallied in communities that the Monday morning, 7 o'clock, instead of everyone going to work, they must all march to police stations nearest and without any weapons. Now, if you look at the house where it is, imagine that being a police station. And on this side of the fence where we are, thousands of black South Africans joining hands together, you know, and saying that we are here, we have left the booklets at home, and therefore you have the authority to arrest us. Nationwide, the entire country came to a standstill. In Sharpeville, the policemen were caught off guard. They had never seen so many black men and women united for the same cause. They were given 5 minutes to go back home or to disperse. That was always the call from the apartheid government. You have 5 minutes to disperse. but the people said they are going nowhere. In no time, the policemen opened fire. As many of them were running away as they had bullet wounds on their backs. 69 of them were shot and killed. Yes, there were hundreds that were injured. Thousands of them were also arrested. The government declared the state of emergency from then. They even called in the military. They made sure that the ANC and the PAC as major liberation movements, that they must be banned. And they made sure that they did a headhunt of all the influential figures. Robert Sobukwe was also arrested, but for charges relating to the protest, he served 3 years in Johannesburg. But then the government refused to release him. In May 1963, they said that Sobukwe was one of the most influential figures at that time. And they decided that they were going to introduce a new law named on his behalf as Robert Sobukwe's Clause. So without further trial or charges, he was brought to that house with a water tank. The only prisoner to have been kept in isolation and not allowed any form of contact. Close to 200 people are living here. Now, yes. Former prisoners, former prison guards, and the rest is our staff. It's amazing to understand that the guards and the prisoners were also able to forgive one another, and they were able, under Nelson Mandela's leadership, when he called on Robben Island to open as a museum, they decided they were going to come back here. So they use all the facilities. This church is open on Valentine's Day if anyone would love to get married here. This year we had 15 couples. They all got married on Robben Island the same day. 15 couples. So it's open to anyone for next year. But learners, you must first go through tertiary and then think about marriage later in your lives. Not now. Don't think about boyfriends now. Let the boys be friends. And it's good to have friends for life. You know, I matriculated in 1996. But some of the friends that were with me in high school are still friends of mine even today. And I'm saying this is now almost 20 years later. And not just guys, but also females. We've always maintained a healthy relationship. This used to be our school, Robben Island Primary, from grade 1 to grade 7. It closed in 2011. Majority of the learners moved on to high school, and there were only a very few students. So now they had problems in now maintaining the school for only 4 or 5 learners. The people that live here are only staff members. You can't live on the island on any other basis. So being employed by the museum, you have that opportunity to rent and pay for maintenance of the houses. I live in a township called Kailicha.
I'll meet you at the river. So 20 pounds and watch it.
Another copy of the book to Mac Maharaj, the then Minister of Transport. Mac Maharaj was due to be released in
All right.
Guys, you need to come on. we got 12 minutes to get on the ferry.
All right.
Where is?
Okay. They used to, okay, let me start. They say, no music, no life, no music, no life. Press play, music will just blow so nice. When I ram, these chicks are all over me. Even road composer, it's all about me. Me, cheese boy, my future's bright. I never look left, I always focus on right. Bitch in the star, I shine like a light. To these niggas, I'm a threat. I only fuck their chicks for one night. I'm rapping in clearness on the hip hop called segregation. I don't beef, I just end the discussion.
God.
The struggle, you know, how Nelson Mandela and other struggle in apartheid.
Gotcha. What about you? What did you like? Like, what was the most interesting thing you heard?
Okay, the part where, like, they were held up, you know. It all brought back memories of how, like, we were taught about this, you know? So it was my first experience to see it live.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I was a bit emotional, but also it's good learning something, you know?
Right. What did I learn today? I thought it was really crazy how they normally, even people who aren't black, they get a little bit more privilege, but I just thought it was interesting how they had, of course, coloreds and then blacks. Like, blacks, they got the worst of all the treatments. The part where they had to carry like their waist on their head and eat it, I thought that was crazy too. Like, I can't imagine having to do that, like you eating right next to where your stuff is. Like, that's nasty.
Yeah, that's so nasty.
If you, like, let me say, yes, you're African American.
Yeah, I'm African American.
If you were here in South Africa and you're arrested at that time, how would you feel if something like that happens to you?
If I had to be locked up like that, I don't think I would do it. To be honest, I don't know. Like, some people would honestly kill themselves because it's just so bad. But like not having to have any socks or no jacket, and then having rain and all the cold wind come through the windows.
Okay, let's say you come back from prison, right? Would you forgive them for what they did? Like
that's interesting because, like, when Desmond Tutu's wife, she went through solitary confinement. When she went through it, she did bad stuff afterwards. She didn't forgive him, like Nelson Mandela did. But I don't think
I would forgive them, but the government sent them to do that.
Living standards.
But under the apartheid regime, political prisoners were then forced to build this as part of their hard labor. Between 1962 up until mid-1964. It was the worst time ever to have been on this island. And because of the racial policies, it is only black men that were brought to Robben Island. So we were classified as Africans. There were also Indians and coloreds. Coloreds are those that are of mixed race. But only those men were on Robben Island throughout the apartheid period. Now, going back during the British colonial era, what you see on the right side here, these are graves of people that died of leprosy. Leprosy in Xhosa is known as iqeba. So in the 1800s, during the British occupation, if you either had leprosy or any other skin disease, it meant that you would have been brought here. But the idea was to avoid leprosy from spreading in communities. Yeah, they have that fear. Even if you go back biblical times, it has lived on throughout generations. It was the same kind of scenario. So this is all documented as early as 1840 up till about 1931 that we had Robben Island mainly operating in this manner. So further, when we get to the historic village, we still have the old churches, hospital wards, and some of the compounds where lepers as well as medical staff were accommodated. But now these are structures used by those working and living here. But as we continue further, we will talk more about that. Yeah, guys, this is our transport system here. You are still in South Africa. We also run the taxi industry on the island too. So we are now going to see what they call the House of Robert Sabukwe. It is another prison, and is also later on where the criminals were kept. And we are also going to bypass them. The Sebokwe House, it is in honor of the president of the Pan-African Congress, the first elected PAC leader. At Sebokwe in his early days, he was also a member of the African National Congress with Nelson Mandela, especially in the Youth League, because they all served together when they were students at Fort Hare University. In the late 50s, because of political differences, a section of that ANC executive broke off and established the Pan-African Congress. But they say that they were mostly inspired by the movements in East and Central Africa as they were gaining independence against the colonial forces. So the Pan-African ideology, it was also gaining momentum in this part of the world. Now in South Africa, one of the burning issues was about the pass law document. Yeah, the students are aware of it. I'm sure that you guys learnt about it in school, the Dom Pass.
Yes.
Yeah, but for those who are from the US, maybe you might not have an idea that under the regime, part of the racial discrimination laws is that black South Africans had to carry booklets similar to your passport. But because of your skin color, you were allowed in certain areas at certain times, and you always had to make sure that you have it and that you abide by the laws. Otherwise, you could have been easily arrested by the government. So the Pan-African Congress, they organized a mass protest against this booklet, the 21st of March in 1960, which was a Monday morning. But the result of this protest was in a township known as Sharpeville, outside Johannesburg. That's where the policemen shot and killed 69 innocent civilians, and they left hundreds injured and thousands also arrested. You know, just to draw a picture to everyone, you know, Sebokwe's approach at the age of 36, you know, he and members of the PAC rallied in communities that the Monday morning, 7 o'clock, instead of everyone going to work, they must all march to police stations nearest and without any weapons. Now, if you look at the house where it is, imagine that being a police station. And on this side of the fence where we are, thousands of black South Africans joining hands together, you know, and saying that we are here, we have left the booklets at home, and therefore you have the authority to arrest us. Nationwide, the entire country came to a standstill. In Sharpeville, the policemen were caught off guard. They had never seen so many black men and women united for the same cause. They were given 5 minutes to go back home or to disperse. That was always the call from the apartheid government. You have 5 minutes to disperse. But the people said they are going nowhere. In no time, the policemen opened fire. As many of them were running away as they had bullet wounds on their backs. 69 of them were shot and killed. Yes, there were hundreds that were injured. Thousands of them were also arrested. The government declared the state of emergency from then. They even called in the military. They made sure that the ANC and the PAC as major liberation movements, that they must be banned. And they made sure that they did a headhunt of all the influential figures. Robert Sebokwe was also arrested, but for charges relating to the protest, he served 3 years in Johannesburg. But then the government refused to release him. In May 1963, they said that Sebokwe was one of the most influential figures at that time. And they decided that they were going to introduce a new law named on his behalf as Robert Sebokwe's Clause. So without further trial or charges, he was brought to that house with a water tank. The only prisoner to have been kept in isolation and not allowed any form of contact or visit from other prisoners. So this whole fenced area, it was described as Robert Sebokwe's world. He spent 6 years in isolation on the side. These structures next to the house, these were all built for dogs after we had the Soweto uprising in 1976 June. So the dogs were not at the same time on Robben Island as to when Sebokwe was here, because government gave reports that Sebokwe was diagnosed with cancer. So they then decided to transfer him to Kimberley, in our diamond city called Galashiwe. That's where he was further placed under house arrest. So for an additional 9 years, Sebokwe was kept in custody, and that is where he died as a political prisoner. So at the age of 54. No one else in South Africa served under the law that was passed and named on his behalf. Even this house, no other prisoner was kept here. We are going to go inside. I saw the other buses left, but the exhibition was open for school children because the 21st March is now recognized as the Human Rights Day on our calendar. It's a public holiday, but some people don't know the history behind it and some of the influential figures. So just for a few minutes, I would like us all to go outside and see what it looks like.
Oh, we get the bonus tip.
You ain't lying. We
Bonus.
Right bus. Right bus.
It's almost like ordained. My peoples. My brother. What's up, man?
I went up beauty out food. I'm also home. So yeah, la. Who doesn't go there?
What if we get? We're doing again and fight. Like a dog. Okay, now you're gonna do it. 44, Red.
I'll talk to this young man back here.
No.
So, what's it like at your school? It's like, do they have different like grade levels? Like, what's it like at school for you?
It's pretty enthusiastic. Learning facilities, quite excited because we get to experience things like our history in primary school. It's not, they're not actually clarifying it to you to an extent that you get to understand and know it. But in high school, it's actually you get to talk, like actually, when you take a trip, when you go to see Robben Island, but in primary, learn it. Right. Right.
Interact with them. So what are some things that like you want to know after you visit here at Robben Island? What are some things you're hoping to learn?
Actually, the facilities, the conditions in which our leaders lived during the regime. I want to learn this to a further extent that I could actually tell my friends that this was the place it looks like we should live in. So it's actually just know the place, explore. After being here, the atmosphere.
So where are you from?
I'm from Player Bay.
How do you say it?
It's quite tricky. Player Bay.
Gotcha. And is school close by?
Marine High School. I hear that my city was actually discovered in 1778 by the Dutch.
And how do you feel about technology? You feel like you all have computer? What do you all have? Someone's been taking pictures. Thank you. What's your name?
Very difficult.
It's okay.
Never.
Let me try. Nazuki? Oh, that's not hard. I'm Tariq. I'm from Kansas City.
Now, if you don't want us to use your name or so on, then we won't.
Pardon?
If you don't want us to use your name, then we won't. Is it okay or no?
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Okay.
How old are you?
17. Cool.
nawuzisola bangenihleli
Izobani Jesse. Bale kipele.
That's the book.
I'm not sure. Maybe 63.
Idziso? Ünyu sufele tafi. Sabe?
Kabel ist ein Vater, da ist eine Frau, die hat
Hey, do you guys want to speak on camera any? It's okay if not. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Good, good, good. Okay. So you were in high school then? You're high schoolers?
Yeah, we're high schoolers at Marui High School.
What's your age?
My age, I'm 18 years old.
And you?
Also, I'm 18 years old.
Okay, and what are your names?
My name is Beatrice. My surname is Mangende.
Excellent.
My name is Yabulela. My surname is Sonans.
Excellent.
I'm a grade 12 learner.
I'm
from Plattenburg Bay.
Now, what would you want Americans to know about? Well, let me ask this question first. What do you study in school? What have you studied in school that relates to history and this sort of thing?
Yeah, history is a part of our subject that we do at school and tourism. Yeah, and also we love it.
Cool. What have you learned? Like, you learned American history, you learned South African history, you learned European history. Come, you can join them.
We do American and South African history. Yeah, also a European history.
Squeeze in just a little more. Okay.
Take for instance, American history, the Black Power movement, so to speak. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the boycotts, sit-ins, everything, etc. etc.
And also in Europeans, we learn about Truman Doctrine, Marshall Plans,
the Cold War. Everything. South Africa, this is what we learn, apartheid.
Now, do you learn of ancient African history?
Yeah, well, like the Khoisans.
Yeah, but we're not given enough information about that.
Exactly.
Still digging more.
This is basically part of our syllabus to explore what we learn at school. And I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
It's basically part of our syllabus to learn practically, come and explore what we're talking about. To see these kind of places.
I also like to know one thing. As an American tourist, you're coming to South Africa, you want to learn something about South Africa. What specifically that you want to learn?
I want to learn more about what's going on now. Because have you heard in America the police are still shooting black people?
Yes.
They're shooting the blacks still. Our existence is not that far removed from your existence. Being persecuted by the police, being categorized as outlaw, when you're just trying to live your life and make a living, not given jobs like everybody else. What do you guys want to be when you grow up for your future? Starting from you, what would you want to be?
Actually, I want to be a lawyer.
And you?
I want to be a politician, political analyst.
Ah.
Let's move on, guys.
Thanks, fellas.
It's very important you understand that the folks that you see who are from America, I see the senior citizen here. He must have been involved in his early days, in the 60s when there was segregation in America.
The civil rights movement.
In the civil rights movement.
And the Black Power movement.
You know?
Oh,
yeah, I'm talking about you.
Okay.
It was the same situation in America because racism is racism.
Right.
In America, it was more regarded as civil rights because, you know, it was civilians that felt that human rights issues need to be taken up with the American government and that black people cannot be sidelined, you know, because they were part and parcel in helping establish America in being what it is today. It was in the same time that South Africa was burning in the 60s. That's why when Sharpeville, the massacre occurred, it was a highlight not only in South Africa, but around the world. People started noticing and they were able to make similarities with what was going on. One of the leaders from where the lady is from in Atlanta, because that's where Martin Luther was from, or the Honorable Andrew Young, he came to South Africa. He was granted permission because at that time he was the ambassador of the United Nations. He was able to meet Robert Sobukwe on Robben Island. Sobukwe's children at the time he was in Kimberley under house arrest. There were agreements made with the family and he was then able to adopt the children and they grew up in the US. And they only returned to South Africa just shortly after Mandela was released in the early 90s.
Wow.
So there was a strong movement against apartheid in America within the black community, the Jewish community, but it moved on, you know, with the university students, you know, just, you know, expressing their feelings, you know, and condemning racism in South Africa as it was in America at that time. The brother of the president in America who was assassinated in the 60s, J.F. Kennedy, his brother Bob was also on Robben Island with Mrs. Helen Suzman. Mrs. Helen Suzman was the only white activist who occupied one seat of opposition in parliament. So whoever she could lobby into South Africa just to give more encouragement to our leaders, she was able to do that. And she also had made that special visit for Sebukwe here, to have met him. Because J.F. Kennedy was also, his sentiments towards ending that whole dispute of race in America to a certain extent, but not everyone was, in the White House in support to that kind of decision. So when you are in a leadership position, it's not everyone who will be in agreement with what it is that you stand for. Yeah. In our parliament, we have 400 seats. President Zuma can make a conscious right decision on behalf of South Africans. But if 300 members of parliament are going to decide that we are not moving with what it is that he's saying, they will do by all means to sabotage that mission. And they will create a slow kind of progress towards what it is that actually must happen. So when it hits back, it does not now go back to those 300 people. People look at the president with bad eyes to say that this man is not willing. So sometimes in politics, those kind of things happen. It's not everyone who is there for the same commitment. Because these now, when we look into our history as South Africans, these were people who fought for the liberation in this country. It's now 20 years after that we had apartheid abolished. But the politics are quite similar throughout the entire African continent, if not around the world. We continue onwards from here. We move to the lime quarry. There is a book about Robert Sebukwe entitled How Can Man Die Better? How Can Man Die Better was written by Benjamin Grogram, who his family was of Jewish descent. If you remember during the Second World War, how Hitler, executed the Jews, applied the same laws of discrimination. Most of the Jews left Germany, Europe, some even came to settle in South Africa. And it was 3 years after, in 1945, when the war ended, that apartheid was established in 1948 under the leadership of D.F. Malan. He had quite a strong relation with Hitler, with the ideology of Nazism or white supremacy. So these things around the world, they have a lot of connections, basically. Dr. Verwoerd, who came after Malan, also shared the same, ideology or philosophy. P.W. Botha as well. And some people refer to it as a devil philosophy. And they use the church. They use the Dutch Reformed Church to be able to justify apartheid and to discriminate black people. Absolutely. In America, it was the same thing with the Ku Klux Klan. They used the Bible to say that they can justify these laws. Absolutely. My sister agrees with me. Absolutely. Still being used. On the right side, guys, this is the limestone quarry where Nelson Mandela and other leaders were. Now, when you are in the main prison, you are definitely going to go through, the different sections. But leaders were always kept separate from the other prisoners. Apartheid, its definition is about to divide and rule. Apart, hate. It's a Dutch word. It has its origins from that. So leaders were always regarded as most influential. So they made sure that they don't mix with the other prisoners. The labor that they had for this area was to break the wall as you see it. Lime was mostly used for building roads here. But this was all with pickaxe, shovel, chisels, and those kind of equipment. Mixed with cement, sand, and other, But these are all new roads that you now see here. Because in the past, this was all gravel. And it was younger prisoners that had to make sure that they built it. Now, I made mention earlier that only black men were on Robben Island. There were also white South Africans who fought against apartheid. But the white male activists, they were kept in Pretoria Central. And the women, they were taken to different prisons around the country. None of them were ever held here. It was just to do with the laws of racism. So the leader, Nelson Mandela, shared in his long walk to freedom, because he wrote the book or the manuscripts whilst he was still in prison here, that these were tough times for them, because they knew that the work was not in demand, but they just had to do as they were expected. That building on top was used as a guard tower just for security measures. The cave at the bottom, it was used as a toilet. If they needed to relieve themselves, number one, number two, they had only one bucket for all of them. Not more than 35 prisoners. So the aim of this prison was not only to break you physically, it was to break your spirit, break you mentally, emotionally, in any other aspect that they were able to be trained to break you down. And Mandela spent about 18 years on Robben Island. It's a very long time to have been in prison. From here, he was taken to another prison in Cape Town called Paulsmoor, where he continued for 7 years. In the last 2 years, he was under house arrest in what they call Victor Verster. So that's where we saw him released 11 February 1990. 27 years was unimagined that Mandela would have come out with a message of peace and appealing to South Africans to work together, irrespective of color, to forgive each other, and to work towards a better tomorrow in helping to re-establish South Africa. It has never happened in world history what people have seen in South Africa. That is why around the world Nelson Mandela had been given the highest honor, because of his influence and his own self-sacrifice, alongside everyone else that was here with him, and who stood alongside, in the struggle. Fortunately, some people were not arrested, but they were in exile in other parts of the world, but they worked 24 hours around the clock to say that we will dedicate our lives for the freedom of South Africans. The teachers know during their time how difficult it was, growing up under apartheid. And it's not everything about apartheid that was bad. Some things were fruitful and productive, but the major problem about it was the discrimination laws. Because of us being born black, it was seen as a crime unto them. We were regarded as animals or even less than humans, and in the way that how they had created their systems. Even all it was on the basis that we were all equal and treated with dignity and respect. South Africa would have been way ahead, because the teacher is a product of apartheid in terms of education. I myself too. But when I look at today and how even during the negotiation period, what we saw about apartheid and all the wrongs of it, the education system, we all read the same textbooks. But the only problem within black townships, it was a lack of resource as compared to how white South Africans had everything to their exposure. So the only thing that they had to now do for us was to put more resources in the townships and make sure that there is access for everybody and not change the education system for us all to be able to take the country forward. Because back then, when you look at the leadership of that time, they are the ones who are now influential, not only in South Africa, but globally. Amongst other things that I can make examples of. Because 1994, we had apartheid abolished in this country. It's now 21 years later. And it's been quite an interesting journey. People had all kinds of expectations about freedom, what it meant to them. But it seems that the process is quite slow, according to how the emotions and excitement that everybody had. And Mandela is no longer with us, but we can only learn from his examples, his philosophy, and as well as his personal life, how we are able to take those examples and see how they can work fit for us in our lives, how we develop ourselves, how we develop our character and our intellect. So it's quite a process, and you guys have the time to yourselves because you are still very young. In 1995, we had a historic reunion here. You see where the pile of stones is?
Yeah.
For the first time, all the prisoners were invited a year after apartheid abolished. It was quite an emotional day for everyone being back. Imagine being here for the first time if you had served 20 years as a prisoner. Because when you were here, you were daily reminded that you are never going to experience freedom. But that day, it came to everyone. So as the ceremony was held, each one had to place a stone on top of another at the end of it as they were all heading to the maximum prison. So they described that as a monument of remembrance in honor of all freedom fighters. Because through unity, people have learned that there are greater things that can be accomplished. and as to how it is when a house is divided. So there are all those kinds of examples. And also interesting, when you are in the prison, you would find that amongst those who came here after the Soweto uprising in 76, some of them were your age group, 16, 17 years of age. If you guys know of Dikgang Moseneke, he's the Deputy Chief Justice of the Constitutional Court. He's one of the deputy judges, but he came here as a high school student. In the 70s, it was very difficult, but political prisoners were given the ability to study. It was more like a privilege. But the leaders, as some of them were lawyers, doctors, professors, and so forth, they were able to encourage others to long-distance learning, UNISA and other institutions. So they were able to, you know, for the time that you were sentenced, they either leave the island with 1 or 2 degrees. There were those people who dedicated themselves, because the leaders had a question: if we are going to get freedom sometime soon, how are we then going to govern the country if we are illiterate? You know, education, as you'll hear in the communal cells, you know, it played a very important role for all the people that were here. It was very important. So they also had the mindset that we cannot regard ourselves that we are in a prison, even though we know that we are in a prison. But this island, to us, it must be seen as a university. They called it the Makana University. Makana, who was the chief from the Eastern Cape, who was incarcerated here by the British in the 1800s. So they said, this is our university. We will not only learn about politics, but we will also learn about the basics of life. You know, just the principle of life, how we are able to, you know, love one another, respect one another, you know, etc. Now learners, I saw when we were in the Sebupe house, most of you read inside and you slept on those beds, especially the beds. You wanted to feel how it was like. Well, me, I have only one message for you. As you guys are in matric, at the end of this year, make sure that you pass your school exam and not a pregnancy test. Don't laugh, I'm very serious. Make sure you pass your school exam and not your pregnancy test. Boys, this message goes for you too. Don't laugh, my man, it's very serious, this thing. It's very serious because we need our minds to move towards another direction. You know, where you have to have responsibility for your own life and be accountable.
Yes.
Whatever happened in the past doesn't really matter. It can only make you a better person. But from today and where you are presently, that is what really matters in your life. Because when you are in that prison, you'll understand that people really sacrifice their lives. Here you never knew whether you were going to see tomorrow or not because of how the conditions were. And these were people who really fought and believed that freedom must be for all. Because we would not have been where we are now, sitting relaxed in these buses and hearing the birds. Just the simplicity of life, but in their time, it was a different era. This is a church where the lepers had their services. It still does function as a church. And there's also a church open on Valentine's Day. Do you learners know when is Valentine's Day? When is Valentine's Day? 14 February. And the girls know it very well. This is where they kept criminals. So there was a huge difference between political prisoners and criminals on Robben Island. So this now functions as a multi-purpose education center. We have programs that teach about history, and the learners are able to stay here for a week during winter and in spring as well. So as learners, you can find out the information desk from Vanessa or Cisco. They'll be able to give you information about how you can organize some of the learners to come. And not the top students. Those ones who are still be pushed from behind. Because the top students, they are there already. This is our village. Close to 200 people are living here. Now, former prisoners, former prison guards, and the rest is our staff. It's amazing to understand that the guards and the prisoners were also able to forgive one another, and they were able, under Nelson Mandela's leadership, when he called on Robben Island to open as a museum, they decided they were going to come back. So they used all the facilities. This church is open on Valentine's Day if anyone would love to get married. This year we had 15 couples. They all got married on Robben Island the same day. 15 couples. So it's open to anyone for next year. But learners, you must first go through tertiary and then think about marriage later in your life. Not now. Don't think about boyfriends now. Let the boys be friends. And it's good to have friends for life. You know, I matriculated in 1996. But some of the friends that were with me in high school are still friends of mine even today. And I'm saying this is now almost 20 years later. And not just guys, but also females. It closed in 2011. Majority of the learners moved on to high school, and there were only a very few students. So now they have that. They had problems in now maintaining the school for only 4 or 5 learners. The people that live here are only staff members. You can't live on the island on any other basis. So being employed by the museum, you have that opportunity to rent and pay for maintenance of the houses. I live in a township called Kailicha, so I travel by boat every day. I've stayed here before, but I got bored after a while. It's very crowded, as you see. But it's a very healthy environment. You have a peace of mind. You are able to just think, do whatever you want, according to your own time. But the island is well maintained. There's no police station here. The crime rate is very low. And we don't experience load shedding here. No power cuts. You can see Table Mountain when you wake up every morning. The smell of the ocean, the sea breeze. You know, the neighbors know one another. It's not like in the suburbs. You know, in South African suburbs, you are from America. People that live next to one another, they don't know each other. But in the township, you know everyone that lives in your street. So that is the difference in how we grow up in the segregation laws of apartheid. Some black South Africans move to the suburbs, get bored, and spend every weekend in the township because that's where life is. They are not used to it. We're going to have a break, guys, for 5 minutes. If you want to buy some food, some refreshments, use the toilets, take some photographs, and then we continue. Enjoy.
Is it for the first time?
Wow.
I can see you now.
So, how old are you?
I'm 18.
And what is your name?
Name is Busisiwe.
And what school is this that you go to?
It's Maria High School, Lettingberg Bay.
Ah, okay. And what do you study there?
I'm studying history, the general subjects.
History.
Life sciences, and mathematics, literacy.
And you like school then?
I like school just like any other person, not like I don't like it.
Okay. And what do you aspire to be when you grow up?
I want to study LLB, I want to be a lawyer.
Ah, okay, okay. That's a good aspiration.
Lawyer for the States.
Excellent. Okay, okay. What is it like where you live? Where do you live and what is it like?
We live in Lettingberg Bay, small township. It's fun.
Ah.
It's a small township, nothing big. everything is just normal.
And what do your parents do? What kind of work do they do?
They work. My father is not working at the moment. My mother is a domestic worker.
Ah, sounds like us in America. Well, thank you, dear.
Okay, okay. Hey, Tim, can you tell me a little bit more about you talk about how the education played a role?
Education?
Yeah, played a role on the island prison.
Well, a lot of prisoners, man.
We used to work for CNN.
A lot of prisoners.
The other way.
Well, actually, I have to have the sun at my back.
I hear you. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, the political prisoners, man. In the late 70s.
Excuse me. If you both can slide this way, then I can get the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't mean to kill the vibe, but
Yeah, I hear
What are
you.
you?
right here.
You guys
right
doing a
here.
documentary?
I'm just asking about Robben Island, trying to learn. This is my trip here.
Okay, that's
So
good.
I'm not sure.
Well, a lot of prisoners, man, as I was saying in the past, the leaders came up with the slogan of each one teach one. Because people came from different faculties, educational, liberation movements, and different ideologies, different philosophies, but they had something in common. And when the education was put up as one of the priorities, it was the obligation now in the communal cells that prisoners must be able to teach one another. If you were good in maths as a teacher and somebody had an exam coming, geography, history, politics, or whatever it is, people always group themselves. If you wrote the exam a year before, someone else was going to rewrite the exam, you had the obligation to make sure that you go through it. But it was all about empowering and strengthening one another. But that also wasn't just on that academic level, it was the relationships and the bonds that were established amongst them.
So you said they called this, what was the name? They called this island, they named it the university?
Makana University.
And he was Makana?
Makana was the chief of the Xhosas. He was a Xhosa chief who was brought to the island by the British in the mid-1800s. And it is said that on their attempt of escaping, their boat capsized towards the direction of Robben in the far right, which is 7 kilometers. But the legend in the Eastern Cape was Ukuza Kanai, the return of man, because people always thought that he would have risen out and led the entire generation after. So it was always something taught, just from word to mouth, because that's how our stories have always been documented somewhere. So Mandela comes more or less from the same region where Makana, led the troops that defeated the British in the 1800s up until he was captured. So it was known as the Makana University.
You said some of the students who were arrested and brought here in the 1970s Soweto uprising, some of them actually got degrees while they're on the island?
Yeah, some of them got degrees on the island. I'm sure the former inmate inside will make an example of many of them. Some that are now working in parliament and in other spheres of government, others who are diplomats in neighboring countries and around the world. Who took the opportunity and were able to stay, focused on their goal.
And just one more thing, now that the island is a museum, who inhabits the island now?
It's now former prisoners that inhabit the island, and a very few of the prison guards as well. And the rest is our service providers. But it's only on the basis of being employed they are able to stay here. But it's quite amazing when you think of how they were able to reach out, with the understanding and the brutality of the history in this place.
Yes, but you were saying in history, the former apartheid leaders had a connection with Hitler?
Yeah, well, the old Malan, it wasn't anything different. They took every little, to shape apartheid into being what it is. You go to Canada, a similar history. You look at colonialism and its genesis, racism and its genesis. They were able to shape apartheid in being what it is, just to have secured their own interests as a white minority in South Africa. Because it was after World War II when they had it established. It was like a nail in the coffin from when you look at the offsprings of colonialism in South Africa or anywhere else in the African continent, in the thinking of the Afrikaners. For
what was life like before apartheid?
You segregated. You knew that you were black, and you, in a way, whatever played on TV, whatever was shown to you, it was generated that you would have that self-hatred and not to have that realization that you are also human and that you are part and parcel of God's given human race and that you have a role to play in humanity. Just the esteem, psychology behind it, everything. Yeah, that's how it is. It's the same thing as it was in America. Yeah, if any experience as a black person that you can relate, it was nothing different. It's just America is a captive land. Here it happened all in the continent. You understand?
How you spell your name?
Thabo, Thabo, and my surname is Mkoto. But you have to say that.
How you say it?
Mkoto.
Muoto?
No, Mkoto. Mkoto.
Muoto.
No, don't think about it, sister.
Okay.
Mkoto.
Mkoto.
Come on, sister.
Mkoto.
One quick question.
Yes, brother. What's it? Start the pass.
What are the elements that still linger? What are the main areas that still linger?
What do you mean?
I mean, what parts of it have not fully died yet?
Of the regime? Economics, brother. Economics and ownership on our side. Ownership on our side. 15% of South Africa's population still holds close to 90% of the country as well. It's 20 years after apartheid abolished. It's ridiculous.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob Marley, Marco,
Is the Igwe part you like, huh?
Tonight. Yes. Yeah, you need to pass your exam first before you go to the boyfriend anyway. Yeah, that's why I say Xhosa is the sexiest language in the African dialect. You remember Miriam Makeba? She said, yeah, she was married to Ibrahim Masagela. Do you know that the group, the Manhattans, originally are South Africans?
Oh, really?
Yes. Manhattans were born and raised in South Africa. The so-called American Manhattans originate from here, Sophia Town, for Fifi. Yes, when Brahim was in America, Miriam Makeba in America, they were there with Mr. Belafonte. Yes, they were born and raised in South Africa, first generation Manhattans, the founders. Yes, you know the acapellas, when it comes to music, don't play with us. We sing our parts.
But the Americans can sing. Wow, I like the way they sing.
You're a singer as well, my sister in Nigeria?
He likes to play his head.
You know, I know the crazy man. I know Lucky. And you know that, as I'm going to tell you now, amazing artist, one of the prominent reggae artists that I like out in South Africa. Sadly, he was shot and killed. One of my favorite artists from Nigeria was Fela Kuti. Yeah, Fela Kuti. He had a song, it was about 25 minutes. Teach, I will teach me nonsense. A song for 25 minutes. One side of the album. We had cassettes, but we also had LPs. Vinyls. Now they are bringing back the vinyls because they see it's important for us to play. Fela Kuti was one musician who wanted to become president of Nigeria. Unfortunately, he had close to 50 wives. Yeah, about 27 wives. All of his wives were backing vocalists in his band. And dancers. In Nigeria too, it's illegal. The wives have, it's, you know.
Age is not a barrier. No. You're quite
It's different ethnic groups, they have different beliefs system, you know. Yeah, well, in most of our ethnic groups, you know, you are able to marry more than one.
Really?
You know, if there's a common understanding and there's all honesty about it. You know, so it's just within the traditions, man.
Okay. Well,
yes. You know.
That's what I'm trying to tell my wife, but she disagrees.
Because
you don't
how many wives are you looking for?
I think one is more than enough.
Oh no.
Quite enough.
Some women are comfortable.
As long as you can.
My friend in Durban, his wife saw a woman in the mall and liked her for the husband.
Really?
And approached her and they became friends. Later on introduced her to the husband, and later on, I think a year or two, they were married. And that's how it goes.
Okay, well,
some women are okay with it, some are not okay with it. In America, it's a different case.
Yeah.
You know?
But not really.
America okay with that.
Some are okay.
Yeah, they just call it something else in America.
Yeah, they do.
Threesomes and foursomes and stuff.
Wow. And I was in Atlanta, Georgia. You know, in America, where she's from in Atlanta, there are more single women.
Yeah.
In Atlanta.
But we don't play that in America. We don't play that.
America in general. But guys, this is where I have to say goodbye to you. This is the last I see you. I'm not going to join you for the tour inside the prison.
Are you kidding?
But I would love to thank everyone for coming today. I hope this was an eye-opening and learning experience for everyone, and it's been a pleasure. It's only in God's plan that we meet. This day will never be taken away in our lives. We will cherish this day forever. So God bless you all. Learners, make sure you stay focused in your studies and become whatever you would want to be in your lives. Greater than you can ever imagine. Yeah, don't even think that you can't become it. Surprise yourself.
Yes.
No one else. The greatest advantage in life is to surprise yourself and not to disappoint yourself. Okay. Thank you. God bless you. You're going to stand outside and the guide will take you inside.
That's something, man.
I'll say.
Almost like you want to pack all our kids in America to come experience this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Also called Devil's Island. If I can remember it.
Hi, Brenda. You're in an interview.
Robben Island has had a dark history for many centuries. Over the years, European colonists have banned slaves, mentally ill and lepers, as well as political opponents to this island. I'll do it again. I'll do it again when I come back.
Cool.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please be kind to follow me. Between 15 years and life imprisonment here on Robben Island. And the total number of the 37 people. Please follow me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, on our right-hand side, we have a sport field. We used to play rugby and soccer there only on Sundays for 30 minutes. The other days we have to go and work there in lime and stone quarry. And there was a football club called Makana Football Club here on Robben Island. Makana was a Xhosa chief who was locked here on Robben Island. He tried to escape and he swam, but unfortunately he was drowned on the sea. So let's proceed with that.
You're a former inmate?
Oh, yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you may have a seat, please. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. How are you? Very well. Well, I'm also fine. Yes. And your guide is going to take you around the prison. Okay. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sparks, S-P-A-R-K-S, Sparks. I'm an ex-political prisoner. I spent 7 years there on Robben Island. I was charged in 1983 and released in 1990. My charge was terrorism under Section 29. So don't be afraid, I'm not going to terrorize you. I joined African National Congress and its military wing. Umkhonto wesizwe, the spear of the nation in 1981. During that process, I was arrested. I was arrested of recruiting people to join the military wing of ANC, umkhonto wesizwe, sabotage, undergoing a military training, and in possession of unlawful arms, ammunition, and explosives. You are free to take pictures. You are free to ask questions. So we are now in F section, one of the communal or general cells here on Robben Island. And I spent most of my 7 years in imprisonment in this cell. This cell was accommodating about 60 people, 60. We were forced to share that bathroom. Inside that bathroom, there are 3 showers. We were forced to wake up early in the morning at 4 a.m. in order to accommodate ourselves. If you didn't get a chance to wash, the authorities will lock you in solitary confinement. You will not eat the whole day, you will eat the following morning. And during those years, we had to wash thrice a week, during Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. The other 4 days, there was no water here on Robben Island. And we had to wash with cold water, even during the winter season. And also inside this cell, there are 2 intercom radars. These 2 intercom radars were used to gather the information inside the cells. If you are discussing something politically, the authorities will come in and victimize us. In order to stop that victimization, we decided to cover these 2 intercom radars with blankets and put boxes so that the authorities cannot hear what we were discussing.
That's smart.
People like Nelson Mandela spent 18 years here on Robben Island, sleeping on the floor, using those 2 mats. And there were no beds, no sheets, no pillows. They were eligible to receive only 3 blankets. 2 blankets were used to replace a sheet and a pillow. So they were allowed to sleep with 1 blanket, even during the winter season. And during those years, there were no glasses inside those window frames. And the rain will come through inside the cells. Here in Cape Town during winter season, there's a lot of rain. It's very cold and windy. Other people got the diseases like TB and double pneumonia. And when they got out of this prison, they died. And the ex-political prisoners went on a hunger strike for many days without food, demanding beds, and the authorities responded after 15 years, where all political prisoners were allowed to get beds. As political prisoners, we were segregated here on Robben Island. There were colored political prisoners, Asian political prisoners, and black political prisoners. All the political prisoners were locked in Kronstadt prison in mainland, and white political prisoners were locked in Pretoria prison, also in mainland. We were segregated on clothes wearing. The colored and Asian political prisoners were allowed to wear the long sleeve shirts, long trousers, with socks, shoes, and a jacket. But the black political prisoners were allowed to wear the short sleeve shirts, shorty trousers, with no socks, no shoes, no jackets, even during the winter season. People like Nelson Mandela spent 18 years here on Robben Island with no socks, no shoes, no jacket. And also, we were segregated on diet scale. That was the diet scale that was given to us as political prisoners. So colored and Asian political prisoners, on meal, they were given 6 ounces, which is 200 grams, and black political prisoners were given 12 ounces, which is 400 grams. On bread, colored and Asian political prisoners were given 4 ounces, and black political prisoners were not allowed to receive bread. They were allowed to receive Puzamandla drink, the so-called energy drink, but it yet never gave us any energy. Jam or syrup, colored and Asian political prisoners were given 1 out, and black political prisoners were not allowed to receive jam or syrup. And during our arrival as political prisoners, we were given the new names. As I have already mentioned that my original name is Parks, but during my arrival, I was given another name. As all political prisoners who recently arrived on Robben Island, like Nelson Mandela, had never been called Nelson Mandela. I myself was called 5683, and Nelson Mandela was called 46664, and we were given a yellow card. On that yellow card, they will write your new name. That was the yellow card that was given to us as political prisoners during our arrival. But it was not big like this one. It was a very small card that you can put inside your pocket. That was the yellow card of Billy Naya, who was serving a 20 years imprisonment here on Robben Island. And he was charged for sabotage. And his new name was 6964. And this person was charged on 28th of February 1964 and was released on 27th of February 1984. So he served all the 20 years imprisonment here on Robben Island. Because if you have been sentenced for 20 years, you will serve all that 20 years imprisonment here on Robben Island. There was no remission for the export cult prisoners. And I myself, I was sentenced for 15 years. But because of the gradual release of port-cult prisoners, I only spent 7 years. So Robben Island consists of sections. There is a section for those who recently arrived on Robben Island, who will stay for a period of 6 months in solitary confinement. There is also B section for those who were considered the leaders of the organizations. People like Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Clarence Makwetu, Zephaniah Mtupeng, Strini Mudli, Mac Maharaj, and others. And also there is C section, which was used as a punishment section. If you have done something wrong here on Robben Island, you will be locked in those single cells in C section, where they will punish you. And there were 3 punishments that the authorities were using. The first punishment was the beatings, where they will use sticks, shambles, punches, whipping, and also kicking you. And also there was what they called in Afrikaans, 3 maal, where you will be locked in solitary confinement the whole day with no water, no food. You will eat and drink the following morning. And there was a 30-day special diet where you will be forced to eat only porridge for a period of 30 days. A soft porridge with no sugar, no salt, no milk. A soft porridge that you can easily drink. You will starve for 30 days and will be eligible to receive only 2 meals, breakfast and supper. After you have completed your 30-day special diet, you will be forced to consult a doctor because you will be very weak the time you finish your 30-day special diet. And also, there was only 1 doctor here on Robben Island. The doctor only comes once a week during Wednesdays. So if you are sick on Thursday, you will face the consequences, or rather you have to wait the following Wednesday. And also there is this section for those who were arrested in Namibia, who were led by Toivo. They were brought here on Robben Island to serve their sentences. There is also E, F, G sections. Those are the communal or general cells like this cell. So now, let's proceed to Mandela's cell in this section. But before we can go to Mandela's cell, any questions?
What's the difference in coloreds and blacks?
Or a color is a mix between a black person and a white person, and that child will be defined a color.
So why is it that people tell you that it was unlawful to whip the political prisoners, but we know that it happened? Why do they lie about it? I mean, even now, I ask people in Cape Town, and they would say, no, you couldn't do anything to the political prisoners. Why don't we tell the truth about that part of history?
Yeah, because we also, look, written some books about our history. Yes. But it's not taught at schools. Okay. Probably.
Oh.
So that you can know what's happening here in Robben Island.
So they say you were not supposed to do it, but it happened, and that's the truth. They don't put it in history books. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yes.
Can you show us an example among us, if it's not too embarrassing, of the difference between colors and blacks?
Yeah. But well, among us, there's no color here.
Yeah, he's talking about mixed with like different races. Yeah.
So we would all be considered as blacks.
Yeah, blacks.
Yes.
No jam, no sugar, no.
Black coffee, no sugar, no cream.
No sugar and no jam.
Yeah, okay.
Sir, isn't it very extremely difficult for you to tell the story again and again?
Yes.
And to be here with us, I mean, we deeply appreciate you. We bow to you, you're a saint. So we are extremely fortunate to be here with you today.
Exactly.
And the story you're telling you in your life. So we're forever thankful and grateful.
Oh, yes.
But isn't it difficult for you to come back again and again to those days?
Well, the first time I came back, it was very painful for me because it reminds me about my past.
Yeah.
But after some time, I realized that also heals me inside.
Yeah.
It's a therapy for me to come here and tell the people about my experience. And I will also recall in 1983, Nelson Mandela asked a question. So if you are a realist, what are we going to do about those people who victimized us? At that time, I was very young, I was 17 years old. I said, well, we have to revenge. But our leadership told us not to revenge. Because if you are revenging, there will be ongoing war here in South Africa. So we must forget about the past and concentrate on the future. Even after 21 years of our democracy, not a single one ever revenged against those people who victimized us. So we are friends with those guards, so don't be tied at all.
I was going to ask exactly the same question. That how does it feel to you when you have to go back to that road again?
Yeah.
Of what happened to you.
Yeah.
And now you have to retell the story.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the fact that for 7 years you didn't wear shoes.
Yeah.
And how did it feel like for you now to put your foot in a shoe? For the first time after 7 years?
Oh, the first time it was very, my feet were very painful. I was not used to wear the shoes, particularly during summer. Yeah. But now I am okay.
Are some of the guards that were here, aren't they also here telling the story, such as yourself? Or any of the guards or their families?
Oh, well, the guards now, they refused. They were called to come and tell their stories, but they refused. But they fear that people will attack them.
Okay, okay. So that none of the guards are here. It's just the, okay.
Okay, let's go.
See, the child.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, and during 1969, there was an ex-political prisoner who tried several times to escape here on Robben Island. His name was Jeff Masimula from Pan-Africanist Congress. Jeff Masimula designed a prison key that can open all the cells here on Robben Island. And he was caught together with his key, and he was locked in solitary confinement. So on our right-hand side, we have a picture there with sculptures. Those sculptures were made by Jeff Masimula, the one who designed the prison key.
Okay.
Those sculptures were standing behind that tree. But after our release in 1991, the authorities brought common law prisoners here on Robben Island, and they destroyed those sculptures. So let's proceed to Melissa.
Now it's better.
These first pictures were photographed in 1995 during our first reunion as political prisoners. All these people were the people who were together with Nelson Mandela during 1960s in this section B. These two pictures were photographed in 1966. They were photographed by the International Defense Aid Fund members who were here visiting the ex-political prisoners. On this second picture, there are those who are wearing long trousers with shoes, and those who are wearing short trousers with no shoes. So this is the picture that I have already mentioned there in F section about the segregation of ex-political prisoners. On this picture, there were crushing stones in this courtyard. This is Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela during his youth time, together with the late Walter Sisulu. This picture does not show the true reflection on what was happening during 1960s. As I have already mentioned that the black political prisoners were not allowed to wear the long sleeve shirts. On that day, they were called by the authorities to wear these clothes because there was international Red Cross, international media visiting the ex-political prisoners. The authorities wanted to show the whole world that they were taking care of ex-political prisoners. On our left-hand side, we have a garden. That garden was made by Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Inside that garden, there's that grape tree. Behind that grape tree on that corner is where Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was hiding his manuscript, The Long Walk to Freedom, and the authorities found his book and he was punished. They didn't allow him to study for 4 years. And the time the authorities found Mandela's book, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela had already given another copy of the book to Mac Maharaj, the then Minister of Transport. Mac Maharaj was due to be released in 1976, and he smuggled the book outside the prison, and the book was read all over the world. Surprisingly, after our democratic elections of 1994, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela elected Mac Maharaj as the Minister of Transport because he was good on transportation of information. So let's proceed.
Wow, oh my goodness.
So he was given a good portfolio. Oh, okay.
Mandela for 18 years here on Robben. Because there are no toilets, no taps inside their cells, they were forced to use those buckets to relieve themselves early in the morning at 7 a.m. They have to take their buckets to C-section where there are toilets. C-section is 200 meters away from B-section, and they have to leave their buckets there in C-section next to the toilets after they have emptied them, because they have to rush to work in lime and stone quarry. And when they came back from lime and stone quarry at 3 p.m., they have to collect their buckets in C-section and also their food. So you could imagine that a man carrying a bucket on his shoulder. On the other hand, you carry your food and you have to eat with your bucket next to you inside that courtyard outside. And when you finish eating, you have to take your bucket inside yourself. If you forgot your bucket there in C-section, you will face the consequences because the authorities will never open the doors for you after 3 p.m., after locking time. And also inside Mandela's cell, there are 3 folded blankets. As political prisoners, we were forced to fold our blankets the way they showed us. If you have folded your blankets in a different way, the authorities will lock you in solitary confinement. They will beat you using jumbo punches, whipping and also kicking you. So Nelson Mandela spent only 18 years in that cell. After 18 years, he was deported to Portsmouth prison, where he spent 7 years. And after 7 years, he was deported to Victor prison, where he spent 2 years, and where he was released in 1990, 11th of February. So Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison in total. So after taking pictures, we'll process straight down.
There's room over here, Rob.
No, that's the ladies.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
The batteries.
I have no option but to look to inside Allow me to tell you how everything this wonderful thing of ours. And for all we have reconciled. We cannot have grudges to those people who have victimized, tortured us, because all those years we had fought for peace. And now we have achieved our democracies. To show that we have reconciled, most of us are staying here on Robben Island, and also myself. And those guards who victimized us here on Robben Island, we are now friends. And also we thank the international community. Their contribution that they made during our struggle by supporting us militarily, financially, morally, and spiritually. On that note, I thank you. May God bless you. Now we proceed to the harbor. Thank you. Now you are released.
I'm here. I'm going to anytime.
Left to the left.
Are you ready?
No, I'm taking a picture, you taking her.
Are you ready, guys?
Yeah.
I hope they went this way.
Yeah, they went this way.
Woo! A6
Yes, did you get the spelling? Foxburg. S-B-R-K-N. Oh, okay, good.
Terry, could you do me a favor, take a picture of me with the
Sam, Sam, you have fun enough?
Ah, no, I'm good. I feel
I should have one with the GoPro, I forgot.
It's okay. Because we can use whatever we have.
Thank you so much.
Just the end.
Oh, yeah. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And you?
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, and you?
God bless.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Let me see the background. That's even better. Wait, let me do that one more time.
Here, just use this one. Okay, I'm rolling and go.
Mr. Fox, did you ever actually meet Nelson Mandela?
Oh, yes, I met him the time we had hunger strike. The authorities brought him in our section in order to stop us and to continue with hunger strike. But instead, he encouraged us to continue with hunger strike.
Continue with what?
Hunger strike.
Hunger strike.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. How old were you when you arrived here?
Oh, I was 17.
And you were originally sentenced for how long?
Oh, for 15 years.
But
because of the gradual release of political prisoners, I only spent 7 years.
And your release of political prisoners was when?
On 1991, 27th of April.
And you came in 1983?
In 1983.
Okay. And can you just tell us, during those years, Nelson Mandela was here as well?
Oh, yes, he was here.
Part of those years?
Yes, until now he was transferred to other prisons.
Okay. What was your initial meeting when you first saw him? What was it like? What was it like when you first saw Nelson Mandela in person?
Oh, well, because I saw him as a leader. Yes. But he didn't recognize himself as a leader. He will always tell us the leader is Oliver Tambo, who was in exile.
How do you spell your name again for me?
S-P-A-R-K-S.
S-P-A-R-K-S.
Yes.
That's your last name?
Yes, Sparks Mlilwana.
Oh, that's your first name, S-P-A-R-K-S.
Yes.
And what's the last name?
Mlilwana, M-L-I-L-W-A-N-A.
Thank you so much, sir. This island, over the centuries, European colonists banned slaves, the sick, which included those with mental illness and lepers, as well as religious and political opponents to this island. Robben Island has had a dark history for nearly 400 years. No, Robben Island had a dark history for nearly 400 years, also called Devil's Island. Over the centuries, European colonies banned slaves, the sick, which included the mentally ill and lepers, as well as religious and political opponents to the island.
Rolling and ready whenever you are.
Can you see my feet?
No.
Okay. No, I don't want to see it.
Exactly.
Okay, but I can move it if you want to.
No, it's all good. Whenever you're ready.
All right, here you go. Robben Island has, take my glasses off.
No, keep
them. Robben Island has had a dark history for nearly 400 years.
I can do cutaways, so just go as you can.
All right. Robben Island has had a dark history for nearly 400 years, also called Devil's Island. European colonists banned slaves, the sick, which included those with leprosy and mental illness, as well as religious and political opponents to this island. we can do is stand up real quick. You know, yeah.
Where you want to do it?
Huh?
Where you want to do it?
He could do this stand up.
Right here.
Did it right there.
No. Do it right here. I can.
Can you see that sign?
Yeah.
We do mine again. While we waiting on Tyreek to do his.
All right, let's go.
They ain't got on the boat yet.
This way, this way, this way, this way.
Can't do it, huh?
Yeah, we can do it. No. There's no such thing as can't. You forget. This is me.
Gotcha.
There's a reason you chose me, even if you don't know. I know.
All right. Okay. Where you
I want you to stand right there in front of your pad. This way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. More. Okay, go.
All right. Robben Island has had a dark history for nearly 400 years, also called Devil's. Robben.
Take a break. Think about it. Breathe. Go.
Robben Island has had a dark history.
Start over. Take 2. Relax. Breathe. Go when you're ready.
Robben Island has had a dark history for nearly 400 years, also called Devil's Island. European colonists banned slaves, the sick, which included lepers, as well as the mentally ill, and religious and political opponents to this island.
Okay. Do you go at will?
All right.
Go at will whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Go.
Get ready to do your stand-up. All right.
Go.
Robben Island has a dark history.
Okay, 1 second. Just angle yourself a little. There you go. Stand by and go.
Robben Island has had a dark history for nearly 400.
Start over in 3, 2, 1.
Robben Island has had a dark history for nearly 400 years, also called Devil's Island. European colonists banned slaves, the sick, as well as religious and political opponents to this island.
Now do a quick ad-lib on the feeling you had during the tour, or sum it up in 3, 2, 1.
The feeling I had of coming.
And stand by in 3, 2, 1.
The feelings you have on coming to Robben Island.
3, 2, 1.
The feelings one has on coming to Robben Island.
Stand by. Just one last. Breathe. Relax. Talk conversational. What was the feeling you had being here today, Princess?
The feelings I had on coming to Robben Island was a mix of emotions. It was excitement, it was anger, it was frustration, all rolled into one. How human suffering can endure so many years, and a man like Nelson Mandela can come out of all of this without any bitterness.
Excellent. Rolling, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Let me look at it one more time. Okay.
Okay, stand on a slight angle.
All right.
Matter of fact, let's get a little different shot. Come over here. All right, angle yourself this way.
This way?
Yeah. Over this way. Over there. Over this way. It has to be. Sorry about that. Angle this way.
This way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stand by. Go.
Many children nowadays go on apps for websites, games, being able to talk with friends, and even, let me look at one more time, I'm sorry.
My suggestion is use the word youth.
Okay.
Unless
Okay.
it's a distraction.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Most youth nowadays are able to go on devices to play games, talk with friends, even to buy stuff that they want. Imagine going 27 years, not being able to access your apps, not being able to be with your family, not even being able to choose what you eat. These are the conditions that Nelson Mandela went through for equal rights. I'll just ask the question.
Cool.
Whenever you're ready.
We're ready.
Or
We
our
stay ready.
Our body's angled right?
Yes.
Okay. We good?
We stay ready. Go.
Okay. So we just experienced Nelson Mandela, his cell, Robben Island where he was in prison.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this? Like being able to know the history where you come from, like how has this impacted you?
I mean, I actually feel very blessed though, because I got the chance to actually know where our lead actually came from. Actually, what he endured in order for us to get this film that we are enjoying today. I'm actually feeling happy because I've got to see the place that he was living at and the conditions working on, etc., so to speak. So it was actually a great experience for me today. I feel very blessed.
Have you ever been told that you favor Nelson Mandela?
No.
You do. Does he to you? Is it just me?
I mean, that whole vibe, being able to be a peaceful person and despite any of your experiences, your background, being able to understand your culture and being able to realize that you can only move forward despite all of this, I think he deeply does.
Excellent.
And also, one second, what did you say you wanted to get into after this? After high school?
After high school, political honors.
Politics, so he's definitely the one for this, and I'm glad that you've had the ability to experience this because I think it would definitely be able to help you out in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. Could be a good asset in my course of education moving forward.
Show some love, brothers.
My name is MZUKISI.
And spell it?
MZUKISI.
Oh, interesting. And how do you pronounce?
Mzukisi.
Cool.
I want you guys to give me.
Any thoughts, any reactions on today?
Okay, we were inspired today and we learn more about Robben Island and our history, and we learn more about the prisoners and how they were treated in Robben Island and how they were beaten and tortured here. So we learn a lot of things. So we're gonna go back home and tell our parents and friends at school how we feel our traumas created.
And also we're being taught by the people who know the pain, who had an experience.
And you're referring to
how did they live?
And you're referring to the guy who made the presentation, eh?
Yeah.
That was heavy, huh?
Yeah, yes, that was heavy.
Is that what you expected?
Nope.
Ah.
I didn't expect that.
People that we arrested in Robben
All of them were long gone. We didn't know that there is still some people still alive.
Ladies first. The ladies haven't said anything. Oh no!
But for me, I would forgive him. But I would never work in the same place I was tortured.
And for me, I will never forgive anyone who did that thing like that. I will never.
But forgiving is
government. I would be still angry.
Compensate these people. For example, that guy who was our tour guide.
I was so.
I will be still angry even today. I will just hate any white man.
Even any white person in color, I would hate him.
But wait. So then, where's the hope? Where's the hope?
Hope of what?
Hope for the future, my friend.
The future is that we must get a revenge. That's our future.
No, there's no future in that.
Because those people are even richer than us because of apartheid.
So
they
then,
are richer now. We've got nothing.
So then, how will you get it? How will you get it?
I got it so wrong. No. So wrong. They done so wrong. I'm still angry.
So then, the freedom was the beginning. The future is what continues, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know what to say. But I'm still angry for now.
Okay.
Because I'm still thinking about that.
Yeah.
But then maybe when the time goes on, I'll be fine.
So when I say plan the work the plan, what does that mean to you?
Workers must be chill and collected.
Yeah. You must be deliberate in what you do. When Mandela was here, how many days you think he felt like kicking some ass? Every day. Every day. But when he got out, how did he do it? He became president. That's how he did it.
With a criminal record.
Right.
With a criminal record. Which one?
So when I say,
with a criminal record.
Anyone
who got arrested has a criminal record.
So when I say success is the best revenge.
He had a criminal record.
No, chance.
The shy one speaks.
The shy one.
So, again, who has something? You have something that you wanted to say? You have thoughts? How is it like where you live?
I live.
But I just
It's
want
like why
to tell you
we party, hey? We have fun.
Is that all?
Study, party.
Work hard, play hard. That's how it goes.
Where we live, we always party.
And you study? You study because your parents sacrificed a lot to get you where you are. Is this true?
Yes. But not only just it's also starting to see ourselves. High position next time.
What do you want for your kids when your kids are your age?
I would want my kids to study or to learn in black schools. I wouldn't want my kids to go and learn in white schools.
Why not? Under this system.
No, guys. Why not? Because
okay, you must have a reason. Good or not?
because I think maybe I don't think I can.
Is it because you're proud of your being black?
Yeah.
It's because of the black consciousness.
You can take her to at white school.
Not me,
Yeah, well, my purpose is to give
When
my
you
children the opportunities that I didn't have.
Yeah,
You see,
you have
I didn't have the chance. I didn't have the chance to go
So
study
when
in the white school
you're-
because of my parents' condition. If I've got money, I will let them
What is the difference
get
between
more
white school and black
opportunities
school?
than I had.
What the fuck?
So you would send your kids to white school because you would like them to have more resources and opportunities?
Yeah.
But let me ask this question too. What if it's not a matter of a black or white or Asian school? What if everybody can come regardless? Would that be good too? Because you notice there are lots of Asians now, there's black, there's white.
No,
Everything in between too. Don't forget.
Because there's different things we can learn from each other. It's not true.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah.
But you love yourselves, right? You do love yourself. You love your culture, right? You love yourself. But what does that mean? Because some people love themselves, but they hate others. But loving yourself does not mean hate. As a matter of fact, real love, if it's true love, it's not. There's no hate. No hate.
It's true that we must respect other cultures and other people. So they also must respect our cultures and our colors. So we must discriminate each other.
You know what? I'm feeling so happy when I see white people living around with us in the townships.
Yeah, getting to
living the life you live.
Okay, then let me ask this.
Where are we coming from? From Platinum Bay. We've got a lot of whites who are living with us around.
And they are
don't
good
even want
neighbors.
cars.
Yeah.
They don't
Equality
even
is
want
the
cars.
best.
They go and ask us for milk or for salt or something.
Or for
We
sugar.
are so proud about that.
You see, like we
You don't stay in the you don't stay in Kwana, so you can't.
Yeah, but we are blacks. We like each other.
I'll go on
We
the
love
face
each
right
other.
now.
If you don't have sugar, if I do have sugar, I will give you with low cost. Because I know someday you will have bread, then I will be not able to have bread. Then you will give me. Not that I must eat all my things and not give a care about my neighbors. Because
You know,
if
exchange.
Because if you can
Hi,
find
Dawita.
if you can find whites are living in the same place, ne? But knowing that they don't even know each other.
True.
Yeah, bro. But
It's more like
we are blacks. I even know far away people. Like in Eastern Cape.
What have you seen where you live? I'll tell you about where I live. I grew up in Washington, D.C. You know where the president lives, the White House? Obama lives there now. But do you know what I've seen? I've seen people get shot there. I've seen people get beat till they didn't move no more. And this is hard stuff. I'm sorry if it's too hard. You let me know, okay? But some of what you live, some of you where you are from, okay? So there's a commonality. But also, my parents sacrificed to get me to school. They sacrificed that I be here today, okay? So this is why I come to you and quiz you. I'm not trying to say think one way or another, but I'm also trying to guide you because I've been down some of the roads you have. I've seen some of the things you have. I know it's not good. I don't want to see that anymore. I don't want my kids to see that, you know?
Do you have kids?
No, I don't have any kids yet.
Why?
Maybe one day. I haven't found a good woman yet because...
So you're not married?
No, but when I do get married, I'm gonna get like 3, 4, 5, 6 wives to make up for all that time I have. I'm just kidding.
You see what I can see now? The violence is between black on black.
And that is the tragedy.
We are killing each other
Everywhere.
every day.
And that's in South Africa,
Yeah.
that's in US,
Yeah.
that's in Brazil, that's everywhere. So how do we change that then? Because that's first.
We have to pray. That's the only thing.
Even if we can pray, no, that's not the only thing, but we can.
That's the only
Pray with
thing.
action.
Pamela,
No
Pamela.
weapon formed against us shall prosper. If you
We need to
pray,
elect new
right?
leaders.
They want to prayers can
We need to elect new
open
leaders to
the
bring
doors
better
that you think cannot
ideologies
be opened.
for the future.
Yeah.
So
Ideologies.
we need to pray and then we need to act, just like our ancestor did. And not symbolic stuff.
We shouldn't be
Knowledge.
also no go.
You said?
We should not be also no go. And we should act as we are speaking.
And see, that's
We
where
should be people of our words.
That's where I started. You plan what you do. You don't go and act. An act is if you go grab a gun and shoot, right?
Why don't you choose one woman here in South Africa that
Because I don't know that I could bring her back to America with me, but maybe once I get money, I'll come back. Because to have wife, to have kids, you have to have money. Well, not money, at least means, you know? It's like the hate thing. You don't, there's a statement that goes like this. Some people love people, some people love things and use people. Some people use things. Some people love money and use people. Some people love people and use things. That's it. Some people use things and love people. And that's how we should be. We should love each other and use things and not use each other and love
Can I ask you a
things.
question? What is the hatred between black people and black people? What is wrong? What is wrong between black people and black people to hate each other? Like,
It's in my opinion, it's education.
Right.
You're in Africa, right? When you learn history, do you just learn about the Greeks and the Romans and Europe? Or do you learn about your African ancestors? Your history starts about 10,000 years before European history. Do you realize this? Do you realize the Egyptians were black? And I mean black. Because where I'm from, they show the Egyptians as being white people. They show Jesus as being a white man, and he was not white. Okay? Do y'all realize this?
Yeah.
When they talked about, when that man on the bus talked about the brainwashing, we have the chains off. our bodies. The next change is the mind. The only Europeans in Jerusalem during Jesus' times were the Greeks and the Romans. And Jesus was neither Greek nor Roman. Okay?
Do you believe in Jesus?
I do, but his name wasn't Jesus. The letter J was not used in the English language until after the 16th century. His name was Yeshua. Yes, and he was a black man. So the white Jesus you see, that's a lie. It's a brainwashing. What else is brainwashing? So we must ask questions, but not just ask questions, ask the right question. Because that's what empowers you. So when you pray to the real God. And when you love with your whole heart. Now see, I'm not supposed to be telling you this stuff, but because there's too much lies out here, right? I'm supposed to be telling you the lie like you see in school, like you hear in history, like you see on the TV, like you see in the church when you go. But I'm not a pastor. I'm not your teacher.
But don't you wish to be one, the pastor?
The pastor should tell the truth. Oh, no,
She's
no,
saying
no.
that you want to be a pastor.
No.
Why?
No. Because then I couldn't be out here. I want to be out here right now. I'd be maybe in the church or something. And I'd rather use my life as a ministry. See, I look young, but actually I'm 53 years old. I'm about the age of your grandfather, your grandmother. So what you're hearing now is from your elders. I'm your elder. So I come to you and I come to you to speak truth and to speak wisdom. And to show you where the lie is. So you can make the difference.
So do you believe in pastors?
Yeah, I believe that there's three parts to your beings. There's the physical, there's the mental, and there's the spiritual. So the same way you exercise your physical so you stay strong, and you read books to keep your mind strong, your spirit, you must keep that strong as well.
We shouldn't be